Welcome all to the show. I'm your host, Soli, and we're doing another deep dive into independent music. That time of year where we bring on two people who coincidentally have the same name. But no, really, that has nothing at all to do with it. That's just a coincidence. Really, I'm here to introduce drummer Cam Sather, who's also done some videography and other band tours with so many independent groups. And here we're going to pick his mind and see what it takes to just make this be your hustle. So, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
I first met you when you were helping out local folk singer Tim York, as well as just followed some of what you were doing on social media, and it's just awesome to just see just how you answer to so many groups and are part of this community.
Dang, yeah, that was a while back at a
Right?
what was that? That pub.
Oh
Um,
man, there were so many. I think it was Rio Mambo, and then I think we met at a few other ones, but Poor David's
okay.
Pub. Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
that's what I'm thinking of.
There you go. I think you've also met Dylan Kane of the band Novocaine.
I don't know that I have
Okay,
Novocaine.
it's a mutual pal. But hey, so first off, you've been doing this so long in Dallas, Texas, but what started it? What made you say music is my passion? I want to make it part of my side gigs.
Um, Probably coming out of like in high school, I did drumline for a year and
Mm,
got like interested in drum kit. I was going to church at the time, and so I had played on like an electronic kit there for a little, and then probably like senior year of high school, we had like a talent show kind of thing. So like some friends were like, we want to do a band performance, and then that turned into one band after high school, and
sweet.
then that like split off, and then another band, and I don't know. Then I just ended up in now I'm in like a bunch of bands. I just like
Sweet.
kept drumming. Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoy it.
Uh, you've also done some side, what I would call probably pop and hip hop, just under your surname on Spotify. It was an interesting listen there. What was the inspiration to do that, especially with
Yeah,
the single "A Thousand Words"?
that was like a COVID project.
Oh, nice.
Cause I don't know, I'd like it was just kind of like an idea, like eventually in my life I would do some like kind of solo project that was more like writing songs and vocals and everything like that. Um, and then COVID happened, and it was like, what else am I gonna do with the time? Um, so that became like something I focused on. Um, and yeah, I don't know. That's it's I guess that was kind of the I Linkin Park's one of my favorite bands, so
Yes.
that kind of like hip hop
Can you
stuff.
believe that new single that's now trending was in the can, since '02, and they just finally brought
Yeah,
it out? I was like, what? Should have
yeah, it
always
was
been on the radio.
right. It's amazing hearing the like older sound.
Yeah. And they just fooled everyone. It's like, I thought this was new, but it can't be new because, the tragedy. And it's like, but it, I guess that just in a way, they predicted the timelessness of the lyrics.
Hmm.
uh, what were some of your other influences and favorites growing up to where you were just like, hey, even if I don't want to be like them, I will go to every concert that they host. I adore them.
Uh, Breaking Benjamin was a big one that
There
like
you
got me
go.
into rock.
Hmm.
Um, I got kind of into like post-hardcore, kind of like Sleeping with Sirens and Pierce the Veil, stuff like that in high school.
There you
So
go.
that's influenced my drumming a bit, I'd say. Getting
Lovely.
into like double kick and that kind of stuff.
Just kind of uncanny music in a way.
Yeah, and there's a band I play with, New Haven, um, that it's like the music style just like jumps all over the place. It's like when I have like a Latin sounding part and then it jumps into like heavy metal or something.
Oh, lovely. Um, in a way, I guess you could say that keeps it fresh and new, but it also kind of makes you guys a little more unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
like experimenting with different music, you know, different styles and all.
totally. So given how you've been part of just numerous groups, what do you mainly recommend to so many others who are trying to just struggle to build up their networking and multiple accounts?
Well, I guess I'd say open mics are like always the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, that's where I met like so many people that right when I started getting into like gigs and stuff like that, that was where I was meeting I mean, I met Tim and everyone out. I guess that's where we met around open mics and all. Um, yeah, I'd say that's probably like the biggest thing, and then just being out at shows and like yeah, just being around the music.
Totally. And altogether, why do you think uh, music just still continues to fuel multiple generations and bring people together, and especially after post COVID?
Um, yeah, it's a good question. Uh, I think it's like a really like deep expression um between people. So I think someone can like really express themselves and then other people um can understand that and I don't know, like connect with it. So I think it connects people in ways that like wouldn't really be possible like face to face and stuff like that. Um
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like reading a book and stuff too is like um you just get someone else's perspective on things, on life in like a different way. So I think it's cool like being able to hear different perspectives from different groups and all.
And totally. And what do you recommend for like publishing album covers and putting your music on sites like Bandcamp and Spotify?
Distrokid makes
Oh,
it like so easy. I think it's like $10 a year or something like that, and
oh, lovely.
it publishes out to all of the streaming services and all. Um,
Sweet.
yeah, and I've uh I've used Fiverr a little bit recently. My band, Worst Case Scenario, is a punk group that I play with, and we're about to put a single out pretty soon, um, at the end of this month. And we were just talking about a guy on Fiverr, like for single design. Um, so I mean, it's like pretty affordable, and the work looks really cool. So we're still waiting to hear back, but I mean, it was like $50, and we get a single design, and he's gonna make like a Spotify banner that we can put up, and so that seems like it'll work pretty well for. We're kind of experimenting with like putting out a single at a time, like one single a month kind of thing.
Oh, lovely. And coming up with lyrics, I guess, is sometimes hard for some. What do you recommend for those who are just kind of feeling down? They know what they want to say, just not really how they want to say it.
Yeah, lyrics are hard. I,
I don't think you need a tragedy every time. It helps, but
um, I guess just like being comfortable with what, well, not necessarily being comfortable, but just like freely writing and like not attaching yourself to what's being written necessarily. Like just letting the writing come out and um, yeah, it was a friend of mine told me to just write like a bunch of garbage and like throw stuff at a wall, and then you'll look just like slowly get better at stuff. And but you've got to like go through writing like you know, yeah.
the various stages.
hmm
uh, and it seems like uh, right now we mainly, if you want to go for music, are there any colleges or music classes that you recommend? Doesn't always seem right.
I've heard UNT is great. I
Oh,
know for percussion and like I don't know, jazz kind of stuff. I don't know. I've heard there's a lot of great musicians coming out of there.
uh,
And I know some people that have yeah, they're really great musicians. I know Berkeley's like a really great music college, but that's like pricey. And
yeah.
in Boston or wherever. Um, I guess yeah, I don't know. I guess that's what I'd recommend.
No, no, that's lovely. Uh, and altogether, it seems like we're now kind of at a point where uh, we got so much to work with. You can decide if you want to, get a scholarship versus use a YouTube tutorial and just tour with a group. Are there any other just like places that you think are good for networking?
Um, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like easier to do things like yourself now, like with the internet and all the tools. I use YouTube a bunch.
Mm. Uh, and it seems like you never know what you're going to get there. Original stuff versus people doing remixes or covers of other songs.
Hmm.
And I know everyone kind of had a crisis with Spotify where they weren't really compensating everyone, but it's still a good way to make your material accessible.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We're in a
yeah.
tough quandary now where how much of the album do I show? And if you want to hear the rest, you got to buy it on another site.
Yeah, yeah. It's been interesting with a worst case scenario. Is we like made an album and it's I think 10 songs, and I always liked growing up like listening to full albums, you know. Um, so it's just different now, like with streaming and all. Like it makes more sense, I guess, to like just put out a little bit at a time. It's like the way people um take content in is like smaller form, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
they don't have as much, I guess, attention to everything. You got to get it there and then. Uh,
mhm,
that's actually a good,
yeah.
not a roundabout. Are there any tips and tricks you think are good for just kind of getting people's attention in the room?
Um, I don't.
It's so hard, right? Because
Yeah,
they're gonna.
I don't really know. There's so much now. I feel like the attention spans are like, yeah, really short. Just all the social media and like quick clips and yeah.
That's fine. And uh, would you describe, I guess, yourself as very fearless at this point? Because you've toured around and nothing can hurt you at this point. I don't think
Uh,
you're human, but
I
I mean,
oh yeah, yeah, of course. Um, I don't know if I'd say I'm fearless. I still have fears for sure. Um, yeah, I guess I've experienced a lot now, and it's I don't know. I'm grateful for what I've gotten to experience, all the touring and stuff, and all like yeah,
okay, no,
I'm
that's
really
fine.
grateful for it.
No, that's great. And uh, it seems like because there's just so many different methods, I guess there's less frustration compared to how it used to be, where I want to be this way or that way, when it's like I can be this way and that way.
Hmm. Where like like we used to have to like go through a record label kind of thing, and um, yeah, yeah, it's cool that there's more like I think capability in like people's hands to do stuff themselves now. there's a friend of mine in California, Jojo, who does like music production stuff.
Mm.
And it's he's just grown so much over the years. Like I've learned a lot from watching him, and just like being in the room while he would like work on bands. I would usually go in and like do live drum stuff and um, just watch him like EQ and do all the effects and the recording and um, yeah, now he's like working on a lot bigger projects. Um,
Oh boy.
I don't know. It's really cool. I'm like proud of him.
And isn't it wild how when you see these inspiring stories, much like any positivity, just that energy just spreads throughout the room.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
The right
He
kind of
like would always
infectiousness.
bring that out of people. Yeah.
That's lovely. Have you ever thought of even teaching a music class?
Um, I think eventually I would like to teach, and I've taught a little. Um, but it was like sixth grade kind of stuff, and I don't know. A lot of the kids weren't too interested, so I kind of had
Mm,
trouble with that. Um,
yeah,
I
that's
just
rough. Can't get a
um
kid's attention.
I think down the road, I don't know. I still feel like I got to learn more on drums too. Um, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
I've thought about it.
anything's possible. Uh, and when you uh got into drums, are there any particular drum sets and uh a certain brand that you think is more reliable than others?
Um, I I've been using Mapex, um, and they're pretty good. I like the quality and the sound. Um, and they're more affordable, I'd say, to like start with.
Mm,
Um, and then
very
there's
good.
cymbal wise. Um, I've always liked Zildjian. Meinl's pretty good. They've gotten a lot better, and they have some more affordable options that sound really good. Um, so yeah, I guess that's probably what I recommend. Mapex and Meinl, Zildjian. Dream cymbals are really awesome. I've been playing with a couple of those recently. Um, that I've kept in touch with my um, percussion instructor or like a guy I got lessons from in high school.
Man,
We've stayed in touch, and um, he gave me a couple cymbals that are pretty fun. So Dream cymbals I would recommend as well.
lovely. And I know Audacity is free. Are there any other? And Pro Tools is another favorite for music fans.
Yeah, I like yeah, Audacity is nice. I've used that a couple times. Reaper, a few friends use that. I know Reaper's free and it's just like it just asks you to buy it like every time you start it, but you don't actually have to.
Nice.
So my friends, and it tells you like how many days you've turned it down. So like open it, it's like you haven't bought it in 6,000 days. Do you want to buy it this time? Um, but I used a Studio One for a little bit. It was like $100 and is a pretty good DAW.
Totally. And it's also just kind of uh it, it's empowering to know that you don't have to rely on just like a giant crew to mix up your music beats each and every time, like you're
Right,
in
yeah.
control.
Yeah, and instead of like having the whole mixing mastering, like having to go physically into a studio and do like the studio time and all. It's like
Mhm,
getting easier for individuals to do. It's pretty cool.
totally. And you see so much just you're able to kind of get inside your mind and see where the beats go mentally, I guess, instead of have to predict, here's how I sound, here's how other people hear me. You're just kind of more in your moment.
Hmm.
And uh, if uh, if anyone had to rent out a studio space, are there any good ones here in DFW that you'd recommend to?
Oh,
I know I'm numerous questions.
yeah, there's a. I don't know if I can think of any names. I know there's one out in Denton. It's like Legacy House, I want to say, is a good
Mm,
one. Um, I know of the Kitchen, which is like around Garland area in Dallas. Um, and yeah, it's just like a small little studio in like a strip mall kind of thing. Um,
lovely.
yeah. And how long have you been doing these like interview?
Oh man, about 4 years now. And I just we started before COVID and then just kept it going. We were just like, hey, we got to dissect all kinds of pop culture and
That's awesome.
help out the little guy. And it is interesting how just nothing is impossible anymore. It seems there's always going to be a
Hmm.
struggle and everything, but like now you can kind of choose how much exposure you want to push your career.
Yeah, yeah. The internet like opened up so much.
It's not just, hey, here's a word of mouth and it broke the internet for a day. It's like now we can go here, we can go there.
Yeah.
And altogether, if you had to um, do anything over again, what would it be?
Um, that's a tough question.
I
If I
know
had
it's
to do anything over again. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure.
it's not good. Right? Nothing to be ashamed of. Altogether, I applaud you for just pursuing this profession because I couldn't do what you guys do. I could technically, but I mean, I just
Well, thanks, man. Do you
yeah,
play music? Like,
I
do you,
I am not good at playing music at all, but I just love how just so many can just choose different forms of music, choose what part of the band they want to be in. I my issue was I just kind of kept running into just very unhelpful music instructors and just I didn't have any self control back then, so, or organization. But
did you
one of
play
these,
anything in school?
they had us doing trombone and a few other things, but it wasn't very organized. There was a lot of gatekeeping, so to speak.
Uh,
And so it was
that's
like,
that's kind of what happened. Like going into my sophomore year, I was supposed to do a snare again, but then like my family did a trip somewhere, and it was at the same time as a percussion camp,
oh
so
damn,
they wouldn't let me in the second year, and it was like a gatekeeping thing. They were just like yeah.
wow, all right, well, I mean, now I know.
What kind of music do you like?
I'm really into kind of, you know, I'll do pop, but I'll also do like electronic and hard rock and metal. But uh, right now, alternative seems to be kind of the best way to just kind of get everyone out of their shell. I find just because, like you say, it's unpredictable. Uh,
Yeah.
but that's a good point though too. That um, uh, there needs to be kind of just some change in how music is taught and not just shoot down, hey, you can't do this or that at a young age.
Yeah, yeah, I think a lot of kids like lose interest because of stuff like that.
Well,
running into issues in school.
it would be like if we just reshape this whole interview right now and I said this must end this way or that way. I've just lost any authenticity by bossing you around in the interview. It would suck. So, um, altogether, I can only hope that so many college schools and even high schools get better at just encouraging people to be part of band camp. I know I had a brother who was into both sports
Hmm.
and music, and that just hurt him really deeply because he didn't want to pick either one. He wanted to do both and commit to both.
Oh yeah,
And I don't know why people feel like, hey, you can only pick one. It's like if you restrict people, you're gonna just keep getting pushback.
right. Yeah.
It's mind boggling. But have you ever thought of doing any music videos?
Oh, like for my personal music.
Yeah, any of your groups?
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, Worst case scenario, we're doing a music video for the song that's coming out later this month. Um, so we filmed that, and uh the song's about like gun violence basically. So it's a little more of like a, I guess, on like a hot topic song than we would like normally do, I guess. So the video is like kind of in your face with like some like gun stuff and
Hmm.
um I don't know, what kind of want to like call out a little bit for I don't know, like gun restrictions and stuff like that because of all the shootings that are going on constantly, and it's like kind of crazy like how it just keeps happening.
It's just maddening, and no one seems to want to do anything about it. Just act like, hey, it just happened. Is like, no, it didn't just happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you can't keep like pushing it off. Like you got to do something about an issue at some point
right,
if it persists.
yeah, it's just kind of like, hey, I mean, if you don't say anything, you might as well be complicit.
Mhm.
But I get that it's hard because then you got to talk to all the guys who feel like they can't live without their guns, and it's like, well, we're not even talking about that. We're talking about the ones who shouldn't
Yeah.
have it.
Mhm.
uh, it's so tough to tread because you know you're gonna also get trolled by people online who haven't even heard your statement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The pros and cons, like the internet is like really cool for how much it connects people, but like so can be such like a toxic environment as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be cool to see. It's crazy how fast like technology has ramped up like over the last few years, the last 10, 20 years or something.
Yeah, it's like it can identify anyone who's disrupting the general public, but it can also be used to abuse and steal identities.
Mhm. Yeah, all the deep fake stuff is crazy how
Mhm.
accurate it like gets. It'll be interesting all the AI stuff now with AI generating music and videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's have you messed around with like a chat GPT or any
No,
anything
I
like that?
saw a brief discussion on it, but I haven't followed it.
As someone recommended it to me and I tried it out just out of curiosity. Um, and it was I don't know, you can just like ask it anything and it'll spit back a whole paragraphs of information.
All right. Well, I'm
But
I'll check it out. I mean, there are
yeah.
ways to make AI work. It's just right now, I can't blame anyone for striking out. I've heard, I wouldn't be surprised if music groups start striking out soon because I know video game actors are thinking of also striking because until AI can be used to create stuff without stealing people's identities,
Hmm.
all it does is
Yeah.
hurt people and deny
Yeah,
them
it's
compensation.
dangerous.
Yeah. And I was already very, very saddened when I just saw that without just no shame. So many politicians were thinking, yeah, let's go ahead and use this. I'm like, well, then we're going to have even more misinformation. Either way, we lose.
Yeah, it'd be a
Oh,
mess.
just perplexing. I hope we can get out some dark times. Uh, Obviously, any industry is not without some stress and depressing times. Do you have any tips and tricks for just kind of recharging and just kind of getting your mind off of stressful matters?
I try and like take breaks and like separate from stuff. Like if I social media will stress me out a lot sometimes, so I'll
Yeah,
just like take it off my phone, um, and like take a break.
I pretty much try to do it only on the weekends if I can. Just don't even interact in certain groups if I can, because if I'm not getting the reaction I want, then that is only going to annoy me even more, and I don't need more annoying moments.
Hmm.
It's wild how people also kind of want to predict which algorithms are going to work, and it's like, well, until it happens, you really don't know,
Yeah,
And if I think a lot of people know their data is being stolen. They just we're kind of the clickbait generation still, where it's just so easy for people to just kind of smack talk, and even when they know a scathing article is not constructive in any way, it's just so easy to click on.
yeah, yeah.
Well, any promotion you would like to promote at this time?
Um, uh, I guess the worst case scenario song coming out, and the rest of the music that we're doing. So we're trying to do a song every like month or so, um, and I'm trying to do more video work right now, like more music videos, and I do uh I do videos for high schools, like high school percussion programs,
Oh, lovely.
um, under Rimshot Media, and so I'm trying to do some more video work across the board. So I guess I'll put that out there.
Oh, lovely. So please keep plugging that and promoting it. I'd love to see more on it.
I mean,
Uh,
thanks for having me.
Anytime. I see so many people who want to only talk to like someone famous, and it's like, throw everyone a bone, throw your friends a bone, talk to your local industry. Altogether, I just feel like just so many people just they want questions answered, and they'll look at so many tutorials and just not get anywhere. And it's like people love just picking each other's brains. So I mean, why not engage in that?
Yeah,
It is what it is. I get that people can be shy sometimes. I used to be to the point where I was afraid to ask anything. Like, I'm not sure I like the answer. And it's like, well, you won't get anywhere.
yeah, yeah. I get that.
Godspeed to you.
Awesome. Thanks
Too
so
much.
much, man.
Anytime. Too much fun.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in, it's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a